I want to walk as a child of the light. I want to follow Jesus. That sweet song with a rather insipid tune made it into hymnal 1982. But it does ask the question, how do you do that? Is it trying to believe a lot of stuff you can't intellectually swallow? To a lot of people it does, but I don't think so. Mark's story of Jesus calling Andrew and Simon Peter being so truncated is hardly believable or helpful to us. Obviously, those stories are Reader's Digest summaries of what happened over a period of time. Surely, it was not an instant following by those rough, uneducated fishermen. I mean, who would in reality abandon their fishing company to follow a man who tells them, "From now on, I will make you fish for people"? Though written later as, I think, a mission statement for early Christians, I actually find that image highly offensive. I really don't like it. Like you're trapping people. Canterbury Foundation at San Jose State makes it clear that it's not what we're about. I can tell you, students are skittish enough dealing with church people at all. So our chaplain, the Reverend Deacon Kathy Crow, makes sure they understand when we're helping students there, no strings attached, no hooks, no nets. Kathy and all of us involved tell them, we're not trying to trap you, make Christians out of you, or get you to go to church, which is their first question. In the words of Bishop Tutu, God is not a Christian. And I add, neither was Jesus. So following Jesus' way, our students come from a number of religions and from none. One from Turkey, a young woman, a semester left when the earthquake hit there. Her family lost everything, including her father's business. So she couldn't continue, couldn't pay the amount of money needed. Canterbury Foundation paid her final semester. When she met Kathy, she had tears in her eyes and shook her head. "You don't even know me." She's now an engineer helping rebuild her country. Following Jesus establishes a relationship with no hidden religious agenda. When students finally realize that Kathy really means it, a trust relationship is able to emerge with the students themselves, which has nothing to do with organized religion, but is, I believe, of Jesus. His Spirit allows us to respect those students without trying to change them into people we want them to be. Now, some of you know, learning that there were thousands of homeless students at San Jose State sleeping in their cars, Kathy set out to help. To establish housing for male and female students, Canterbury Foundation rented the second floor of Grace Baptist Church right across from the campus. Under Kathy's supervision, that worked until deaths involving that church's homeless shelter revealed it was unsafe, and we had to get out of there. Even as Kathy continued and continues to help students in many concrete ways. Now, a primary focus of the foundation is finding homes around the area where a student can live in a room at nominal cost. Living in our guest room, Jonathan graduated last spring, his group's project winning the School of Engineering's first prize. On his own now, he's a mechanical engineer managing a small high-tech business and doing great, really a member of the family, a real entrepreneur. Another student is living with me now from Senegal in Africa. Laughter fills the house when he's there. One night, last December, the two of us were talking on Skype with Jill's sister and brother-in-law, Judy and Gareth Barr, whom he had met last fall. Before they signed off, Judy said, "Well, Merry Christmas." I said, "You don't say Merry Christmas to a Muslim?" "Well, what do you say?" she asked. "You wish him a happy Hanukkah." He and all of us were laughing so hard. Another night he came home later than usual, delayed, he explained, because as he was getting gas, a man had locked his keys in his car, very upset, spoke no English. So he said, "I phoned AAA to come and help." I told him that was such a Christian thing to do. Again, much laughter. The two of us have amazing discussions, learning from each other. Now, could it be that the loving care seen in Jesus is at the heart of all religions and is the very love of Christ we talk about? And maybe God doesn't care about religious labels as much as people think, but actions from the heart. Last December, an event hit me in the face involving, of all things, the Rockefeller Christmas tree, its 90th year. An 80-year-old Norway spruce from Queensbury, New York. It was 82 feet tall, 50 feet wide, and weighed 40 tons. Wrapped in more than 50,000 multicolored LED lights. It was beautiful. But when those lights were turned on, you couldn't see the tree. Even then, I thought, there's a sermon in there somewhere. You see, that's what happened to Jesus. When the early church elevated him to the Christ, his divinity shone so brightly, it was impossible to see the human being, the real man who could attract a bunch of fishermen, a tax collector, some women, and even riffraff to follow him, risking everything, even death. But then something dawned on me yesterday regarding that Christmas tree. The reverse occurred to me too. Just as those LED lights made it impossible to see the natural tree, so superficial lights can blind us from seeing the person beneath them, impacted by experiences we don't know about. Maybe we need to be less judgmental about who it is. It reminds us to see the unique spark of God's hope in every human being, to treat each person we meet with the same respect and honor we would give to the Christ if we met him here. Would kind of transform things. So to follow Jesus is to follow his spirit, his attitude toward people and events, and God. One of the closest ways we can hear that spirit is through words from the perspectives of Mark, then Matthew, Luke, and finally John, thoughtfully amplified by your own experience. In that four-gospel hologram, you can listen for Jesus' voice and internalize that voice into your own motivation, asking, what can I do? How can I follow? Considering your talents, abilities, your interests, and age, where does that voice lead you? A call to my heart which seemed to be from Jesus, came from, of all things, television the other night. Now, as you know, I'm accustomed to the pain hearing reports about the war in Gaza. But a story on the national news told of a 7-year-old boy, his mother dead, his father missing, probably buried under rubble, having to help his 7 siblings, including a newborn sister. To feed his little family, he'd gather sticks to heat some soup and a bit of milk for the baby. Then there was a 13-year-old Palestinian girl there. She spoke in very good English, saying, "We want to live as human beings." Just 2 examples out of millions. People needing help just to live, survive for another day. It occurred to me that following Jesus involves not only our feet or even our personal witness. It can also mean a thoughtful use of resources to help human beings, no strings attached, like our food pantry here, area needs on our doorstep, and in such faraway places as Gaza, where the Spirit of Jesus cries out to be present, incarnate, as we share ourselves across the miles to meet desperate need following Jesus. Lots of ways to follow, as unique as each one of you.